welcome to edition 115 of All Killa No Filla podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn and Kiri Pritchard-McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have mutual interest in serial killers. As long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Hopefully you'll be listening to this on Christmas Day. Nadolig Llawen, Merry Christmas. Do you know what? I love that for some people it's a little tradition to have us on to be making Christmas dinner. So we're very pleased to be a part of that.
Yeah. What will you be doing at this hour at Christmas morning?
Christmas morning. I think I'll be asleep. I think I'll enjoy a lie-in. Mm-hmm. And then it's just going to be me and my partner for the first time all year.
Nice. I think you've got to get up at 6 a.m. anyway on Christmas Day. It's the law.
Do you think?
Yeah, of course it is.
Just get it up and me padding around.
Where's my presents? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really nice just having two of us, but I've got no doubt at some point children and their parents will descend on the house.
Nice.
I also am very tempted to drive over to my brother's house to watch my niece, who's 3, open presents.
Listen, you've got to.
I know. But she's like, she's so sweet. She's not like very materialistic. So she'll just open one and she'll be like for an hour like,
yeah,
wow, have you seen this? So like you want to be like tear into them all like an animal, but she's not really got that gear.
I mean, this year, I have to admit, Christmas presents, I'm just like little bits and bobs. In fact, one of yours is here before you go.
Got it.
So, little bits and bobs. Been a stressful year. I just, nice little gifts this year. Little things.
We join you.
To me. Oh.
Yeah. Hello, getting nice and close. I just put my arm around Rachel. Do you know what's a really bad habit I've got from my father of when people are driving in the car, I'll like have my arm around them.
Who do you think you are?
It's because it's like, do you know what it is as well? Is I found out that I've got no mobility in my like core, so I can't like look over my shoulder. Like, so if I have to turn, this is the most I can turn, which is like a reverse of an owl. I can basically so I have to like anchor myself around with my arm. That's what was happening. I was trying to listen, Rachel. I was trying to open up the fucking conversation. And I regret even trying.
No, please go on. You go on. Christmas presents. You were going to say.
What was that? Well, it's gone now, isn't it? It's gone.
It's gone out in the ether. We'll remember it in a bit. But yeah, Christmas presents this year. I'm just thinking, people are getting a book. They're getting a nice mug.
Yeah.
They might get a lovely pair of socks.
Yeah, perfect.
You know, I can't. The only person I'm struggling with is Tim's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I said, listen, just ask him what he wants and I'll get it. Because if I have to go on one more fucking website, I'm going to lose my temper. Because I just don't know what to get him.
Also, have you noticed if you go on like, if you're on like Etsy or something like that, and you're like, right, I'll go on the men's gifts bit. It's like, who are these men who are obsessed with like leather trinket tray? No, everything's leather. It's a leather key ring. It's a leather bracelet. It's a leather trinket tray. It's a leather codpiece. Like, it's all leather.
Yeah, leather. Tooled leather.
Yes.
Tooled leather. And, stuff like that.
And everything's personalised.
Friendship bracelet.
Like they've got a head injury and don't remember their own name.
My ex-boyfriend used to wear a leather friendship bracelet with the dates that Manchester City first won the Premier League.
Wow.
I know. Having said that, though, I do have a watch with the back engraved with the first time that I saw Oasis on the back, which also is Will Duggan's birthday, which is quite annoying.
Yeah, nice to remember.
That. But Christmas presents, listen, it's the season of goodwill, which is very difficult time of year for me. Season of goodwill.
That's what I was saying. You're having a tough time at the moment because you're having to do all this around viewings for your house.
Well, it's not my house, is it? As we've discovered. Listen, I've got to move house, but it's fine. It'll be all right. It'll all be for the best in the long run.
I don't think it's fair to ask someone in a stressful time before Christmas to also then fraternise with estate agents. I think that's the height of rudeness.
So I just think there's never a good time for things, and I just always think just before Christmas is difficult. But then again, I'm not really Christmassy.
I think I'd rather find a lump than know that I had to have estate agents in my house. Yeah, a lump of coal in my tit.
That is a lump of coal.
Yeah, that's how Welsh my tits are. There's a lump of coal in them.
But you know what? Everything will be fine. We've got an exciting year coming up.
We've got an amazing year coming up.
I go on tour. Tickets are on sale. Hey, if you want to come to Frog and Bucket, there's about 5 tickets left.
Woo-woo. They'll be gone by Christmas.
Australia,
Aotearoa. New Zealand. Some more dates going to be released in the new year for that. So, I mean, that's only about a week away, isn't it, when this comes out? Also, if you are based in North Wales, I had 2 shows in Bangor. They got moved because of the storm. Storm Dara.
A mystical reason for things to be moved.
It's quite a North Walian reason, isn't
Storm.
it? Like, we don't want to drive it because it's windy. It's quite a North Wales, but actually it was absolutely fucking nuts, to be honest.
It was the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Here, now listen, right? Now I'm going to say this now. Comedy, right? If you work in comedy, or you run a comedy night or something along those lines, why is comedy the one fucking thing that must go on? Why is it the one fucking thing?
Well, like when the Queen died and people are like, we owe it to Queen Elizabeth II to do my bit about how people thought I was a paedophile. And it's like, I think we can just have a weekend off, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was bad storms here. Stop naming storms. It fucking annoys me. It's not America.
But no, it's because they've hit a certain severity. Do you know more people die when it's got a woman's name? Do you know this?
Good.
Do you know why? Because they don't take it seriously. They're like, oh,
really?
Oh, it's Linda. I'm not going to prepare for Linda.
Oh, Storm Linda.
And so more of them die, which I think is perfect.
Anyway, Christmas,
very Christmassy. I had a Christmas experience. It'll come up later, I'm sure.
Oh yes. Do you want to tell them now?
No, well, it'll come up later. But I've had a very Christmassy evening. I can't wait to tell you about. We are going to be talking about something different because it's Christmas. We usually do something different. So we thought we'd talk about Alcatraz because it's had a mad history. Obviously, it's quite famous for being like the prison that couldn't be escaped from. It was escaped from in a really spectacular kind of nuts Shawshank Redemption style story.
I've seen it. Sorry.
Really? Oh, it is good. It's as good as you expect it to be.
That's difficult for me. What do I expect of most things?
It also has a body count as well. So it's been loads of things over the years, and that's one of the things we're going to cover in this first episode. I think people thought it's where you send people to die, but San Quentin was where you sent people who were facing the death penalty. And Alcatraz was like, you're in for life, but it's maximum security. So
it's if you don't know, Alcatraz is 1.255 all right. It's 1.25 miles off the coast of San Francisco, USA. Alcatraz apparently means strange bird.
Yeah, or pelican. Basically,
Alcatraz.
Yes. So the original name was because loads of pelicans knocked around there. And also for a while it was called like, I've got it here somewhere, that it was known as something to do with it being white. Anyway, we'll get onto that and how it was discovered. Its body count, 8 prisoners were murdered in the time that it was a prison. Ooh. 5 died by suicide and 36 people tried to escape. But we will get onto the escapes later. So Alcatraz is derived from the Spanish for, I'm very sorry to any Spanish people or Spanish speakers listening, Alcatrazes, I think. So in 1775, there's a Spanish explorer called Juan Manuel de Ayala. Sorry.
Ayala.
Oh, yeah. That one. You're much better at this pronunciation.
He was the first person to sail into what is now San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, he arrives there August 5th. I bet it was beautiful.
And the name is debated still, but as we've said, usually defined as pelican or strange bird. Having said that, have you ever seen a pelican?
They're weird looking.
My God, they're the most prehistoric looking things. They're so mad, aren't they?
Up there with a shoe bill. Yeah, I mean, it's a bin with a pair of wings, isn't it?
They're so weird,
Just
aren't
that big flappy. When you see have you seen a fish in the thing?
Oh, no.
Knocking around in it. It's quite unpleasant.
You know my love of the capybara?
Yes.
Those videos where you see like pelicans trying to eat the capybaras. It's like, nice try, mate. You're not going to go.
Oh, I've never seen that.
There's that on them, and the capybaras just like...
You'd have a go.
Oh my God, they're so gentle, those creatures.
They're very sweet, aren't they?
Oh my God, they're so kind.
It's like they're so kind.
They are. They're just like so good-natured and like they're just the best friend in the animal world.
No, it'll be one of those things where you think that and then you dig into it and you're like, oh, they only conceive via rape. Be one of those that, like for ages people are like, ducks are so lovely, and you're like, well, you should look at their criminal records because it's very bad.
I don't know why people are surprised that it should be no surprise that ducks, reproduce through rape. Donald Duck doesn't wear any trousers.
Fucking hell. Merry Christmas.
What's that there?
Oh yeah, you've got a duck on here. Why have you got a duck sticker on your laptop?
It's from a tattoo parlour.
Sure.
So Johnny Ogle, who works at Blue Bottle Tattoo in Newcastle, he likes ducks. So he's going through a duck phase. He's into duck era.
One of my brothers loves ducks to the point where he eats every meat except for duck.
Oh, I wouldn't eat duck anyway. It's on water. Don't eat anything from water or on water.
Oh, I miss duck. Duck was really nice. So, the island was sort of full of all these Spanish tunnels. It was under Spanish ownership.
That sound delicious, like something you'd have at tapas.
Well, also when I was reading about it, it said it was honeycomb with Spanish tunnels, and I'm like, get it in my face. Yum, yum, yum. I'll have the honeycomb Spanish tunnels for pudding, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, we'll just get 2 spoons and share. Thank you. So, for some reason, this island doesn't really attract that much attention compared to the rest of the area. Mm-hmm. And it's because it's fairly inhospitable. There's no natural flowing water on the island. Loads of the cliffs are sheer, which is why it goes on to be such a brilliant, maximum security prison. You can only get to it by boat in 2 places. There's no...
Sign me up.
There's no vegetation, which is why actually there's... what's the word? Like a disagreement over whether Alcatraz is actually Alcatraz, because there's another island. There's 3 islands, basically, a set of 3 islands. And one of them... In the records, they're like, no, they're describing this that's Alcatraz. No, it's that Alcatraz. So they think that it was, they don't know if it's the correct original name. Mm-hmm. But basically, one of the army officers who went to live there later said, it is entirely without resources within itself, and the soil is scarcely perceptible, being rocky and precipitous on all sides. And basically they said, it's stone with bird shit on top. And the guano, as we call it when being polite, meant that it was called White Island for a while. People were like, oh, it's the White Island, because it was so covered in bird shit. Which is like one of those names where it sounds lovely, and then you dig into why and you're like, I'm all right, thanks. Like the island, I've told you about the island that's just off the coast of the island I live on, called Puffin Island, because it's a puffin colony. But for a while, in sort of like, I would say the noughties, someone let a rat on there. The rat ate all the eggs and just killed the puffins. So... Because, puffins live in burrows.
And the rats went in it.
Yeah, and then everyone started calling it Rat Island locally, and that is what happens. But the puffins are back.
Do I'm in Bristol this weekend gigging, and I was just thinking, I wonder what's on in Bristol. And there was this, there's a tour you can go on. Come and see urban rats in their...
Are you serious?
I'm fucking serious, mate.
Bristol will monetize anything. They're so right on. I love it.
Come and see urban rats in their habitats and learn about the myths. No fucking thank you. People, hipsters, stop. Learn about Learn about pest control method. I can't think of a worse way to kill a couple of hours.
Also, when they say pest control, it's nearly always, unless it's like a big chain like Rent-A-Kill. It's just a lad with a hammer.
Well, I just think, I honestly, I'm flabbergasted that that's a thing. Why would you want to go on that? Learn some of the myths and legends about rats. No, thanks. I mean, yeah, we know they're clever too. They're covered in disease and fleas. And look, please don't be one of those people that writes, well, actually, I think you'll find that rats are...
Well, they can't be sick, so that is a thing that they have a different relationship with disease.
Well, what is this? The fucking Let's Defend Rats?
No, I'm saying that like there's a reasoning for it, but also like I just don't trust anything that can't vomit.
I mean
that about horses as well.
Oh, can horses not be sick either?
Yeah, they can't be sick. Well, if they get sick, they get colic and they die. They twist their gut.
I've been sick for ages.
Yeah.
Ill. Touch wood. Actually, I could have just touched my flute then, couldn't I?
Fuck me, flute's back.
Got a new one. I got a tin one. I don't know why I'm saying this because it's not very Christmassy. But you don't need you're ill as in. I never get ill as in. Bleh, I'm going to be sick.
Well, norovirus is knocking round, so be careful what you wish for.
I think I've got quite a strong stomach. I don't think I've ever had food poisoning apart from.
Same.
I don't think I've ever. I think I'm quite resilient in that respect. Watch this. Like E.T. White in that river.
I had it the other day, took my first day off from comedy in 15 years of doing it because I was meant to be in a writer's room and I was so unwell. which is what you can kind of hear in my voice now. And I was like, if I do this, the whole of the week's fucked and this week is really busy. So I said, I'm really sorry, I can't come in. And then I was like, I'm just going to stay in bed. I sweat through the bed sheets twice. It is such a disgusting feeling and to get up and see a shape of yourself.
Whatever this is lingers as well.
It's fucking terrible.
Here's something I'll give you some advice on if anyone's going to a comedy night. If you go to like just to watch a normal comedy night and it's a bill and there's like, there's a comedian you like on that bill, and if you get there and that comedian is not on anymore, don't fucking cry because those bills are subject to change. If you want to see a comedian specifically, go and see their tour show because you will see them. But it just really bugs me, this. We are... And I don't want to sound like I'm being a diva, but sometimes you get to the point where you're like... When I had to cancel a couple of gigs because I was in hospital, we were really disappointed that you weren't... I'm in fucking hospital.
Yeah, I'll Zoom it from a hospital bed. I'll Zoom it from a gurney in A&E.
Yeah, we get it. Like, I just think... It's so... Sometimes when a comedian isn't there, there'll probably be a good reason. But go and see him on a tour show. And the thing is, if someone's ill for a tour show, it will be rescheduled. Or if someone's... So
you'll just fucking do it.
You will get to... Yeah, exactly. You'll get to see it. But it just really bugs me that, you're like, I'm in fucking hospital.
Yeah.
We're really disappointed that you couldn't appear at... Oh, me too. I'm in hospital. Bleeding. Fuck me.
Back to Alcatraz. It's a kind of like long island, so it's 1,705 feet long, and the width at its widest point is 580 feet.
Ooh, we're wallpapering it, are we?
Yes, and there's two sort of peaks that hit the above sea level. So it's only 22 acres though. I weirdly thought it was much bigger than that. But it is just like enough for a very big building. Yeah, just essentially.
A big rock. And it big old prison.
And it couldn't be, it was really hard to build on because the stone had all these seams going through it, which means that you couldn't quarry it and it was really unstable. So it's a nightmare.
So it's just a rock covered in shit for all
Yes, exactly, which is how I think most people would describe Britain these days.
In 1850, presidential order set aside the island for possible use as a US military reservation.
This was preceded by loads of mad shit. So basically there's the Mexican War going on and then everyone is going... This is at a time when everyone's in America going, fuck you to the Native Americans and going, I own this, and sort of making bids for land. So some guys who are originally from Mexico who've sort of naturalised, is that what you call it, settled in the United Kingdoms were like, I own Alcatraz.
United Kingdom?
Sorry. Apologies. United States.
Listen, I'm correcting that because someone will take it upon themselves to write in an epic email about your...
Oh, yeah, sorry. That was just me being Eurocentric. Apologies. I meant the United States. So there were some people who they're settled there as Mexicans were like, I own Alcatraz. Because basically you could just say you own something and then someone would have to prove that you didn't. A bit like, when someone was like, I own the moon, and because no one else was like...
That's mine, actually.
Yeah, and then they were selling...
Well, the moon belongs to all of us, actually.
The moon belongs to all of us.
As does the earth.
Only someone was selling off certificates for an acre of it in W.H. Smith years ago.
Cunts.
Sa!
Well, it is though, isn't it? Like, the moon belongs to everybody. It belongs to everyone. That celestial being, that wondrous...
I do love the moon.
Just, the moon belongs to everyone.
I love finding out the names of, when you get different moons, so you'll have
I don't give that much of a shit about it.
Oh, no, I do. They have, you've got, the sturgeon moon and things like that, and you've got,
Nicola Sturgeon moon.
The damn moon.
What do you mean I've got to go down here again?
Fucking hell. And the worst named moon, the worm moon. I think it's in about April or something like that.
Harvest moon.
Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it?
Nice.
It's really nice.
Worm moon.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? This is fucking nuts. My partner and I was like, every month I'll be like, do you know what? The moon's called this month? And he'll be like, oh, is it flower moon or whatever? And so I went, you'll never guess this month. I said, it's probably the most disgusting thing it can be. And he went, a worm moon. And I was like, where have you read that? And he was like, what? And I was like, where have you read it? And he's like, I haven't read it anywhere. I was like, you're a fucking liar. You haven't just guessed that. And he's like, have I guessed it? Have I guessed it? And he was acting like he was like, oh my God, like, I can fly. Am I floating right now? Can you see me floating? And I was like, you can't fucking guess worm moon. He's like, you said I'd never guess it. And in my head, it was just worm moon. And so this is a constant source of argument in my house.
Subconsciously, he must have.
I think he has absolutely clocked it somewhere. He's in the other
most
room.
disgusting thing you could think about would be a poo moon. Is it a diarrhea moon?
Oh my God.
That'd be the most disgusting.
Is it the white bits in the corner of your mouth moon?
Is it when you burn the top of your roof of your mouth and bits fall off it moon? Is it that? Is it when you've chewed the inside of your mouth when you're asleep because you're having distressing nightmares moon?
Is it when you're going for dinner with your friend and they bring their fucking boyfriend with them moon?
Is it the slack anus moon? That could be a moon.
No, that's in August, that one.
Ah, yes, of course. Do you know, what was I going to say about the moon then? I can't even bloody remember. The moon, no, it's gone. It's out there in the
Love
universe.
the moon.
Big up to the moon. Shout out to the moon, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
So you got a Spanish colonial government. They retained control of these islands, but then in 1838, they're really worried that they're going to be invaded. It's going to be a fucking another cause for them to go to war. So they're like, oh, fuck this. Pass it on to California, the governor of California, who by this time wasn't part of the Spanish government.
It was wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wasn't yet, no, but God, he's aged well. Passed on to the Californian, the governor. They would be in charge of it. So the plan was, this is a really great place to put a lighthouse. So it's signed over to these guys. So basically, technically the Californian government own these sets of islands, but by this point, some Mexican guys have gone, we own these, and the government aren't really pushing back on it because they're not really aware of it. They say, we're definitely going to build a lighthouse there. They sort of pass it on to their son. And then there's this whole big back and forth where the government wants to build a lighthouse because it's not being built. And then the Mexican guys are like, okay, well, buy it from us. And they're like, you don't fucking own it. And then he's like, yeah, I do. I own it. Prove that I don't own it. So this whole back and forth going backwards and forwards. The guy who's claiming he owned it is eventually court-martialed because it's something like he was a governor for California and he goes, okay, fine, I will buy Alcatraz. Then he's court-martialed for he's done loads of shit wrong, including the government going, you didn't have the authority to buy that on our behalf. Stop saying you're buying islands. Like, you can't do that. So then basically the buying of the island gets called off, but the American government go, we own it anyway. We don't have to buy something we own. Then the original Mexican people take them to court.
Just knock it down.
So they do. But then it's really hard to get anything built because basically what happens in about 1849, they go, right, we're going to build something there. But they've got no soldiers to do it because they've all gone off in the gold rush, which is around the corner, which was causing a lot of these problems. And why suddenly every bit of land was valuable? What if it's got gold there? So the California gold rush is going on. No one wants to be a soldier because they can make more money panning gold. So it's so funny. The military go, I think if we want to find anyone that's really effective, we are going to have to go to Honolulu for about 9 months to recruit. Lovely. So they just went to Hawaii over the winter and then came back in March of 1850 and were like, okay, we've got enough soldiers now and a lovely deep tan.
Nice. Well, then they build a citadel on there. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a fortress to protect the area. Which is what a citadel is. I didn't really need to say that. The guns were never fired in battle.
Yes. It cost...
Just for show.
Absolutely. They estimated it would cost, in that time, 300,000. It actually cost 600,000.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because it's such a difficult, inhospitable place to... You have to bring everything in. You have to fortify everything from the bottom.
If you want my opinion, just forget it. Why is everyone so in love with this big, horrible island?
It is an island that it doesn't love anywhere back. It's just like telling people I don't want to be anything.
It seems like bloody mindedness, all of this. By the late 1850s, the first military prisoners, they were brought to the island But in 1909, the citadel was removed and a basement level was used as a foundation for a new military prison.
Have we said there was 100 cannons on there?
No need.
So basically, to get into San Francisco Bay, which was, had been part of the, it's mentioned, isn't it, in Hamilton? So it has been a site of military action. Now you've got the gold rush there. They were just desperately afraid of being attacked. So there's these Fort Point and Line Point and Alcatraz, these islands that they basically go, okay, if we put guns there, there's enough there. So they had 100 cannons on the island, and it was basically one of the most heavily militarized places on that whole entire area. Excuse me. They did build up their lighthouse eventually.
Oh, lovely.
It was one of the first operational lighthouses on the west coast of America, and it was there for 125 years.
Ooh.
Not bad, that. I love an old lighthouse.
Yeah, I like lighthouses.
There's one you can stay at in Llandudno near me.
I don't want to go up the stairs. There's a Longship's lighthouse off Land's End in Cornwall, and it makes a really weird noise when the wind whistles.
A noise?
Like a woo.
Oh, really? Do you know, on my farm, there's like a steel gatepost, and it's got a hole in it, and when the wind blows, it goes, ooh.
Yeah, it's creepy, isn't it?
Yeah, because when we first moved there, my partner was like, when there's a storm, I can hear someone. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's a fucking fence post. It's basically like someone blowing over the top of a bottle.
I can hear someone
going, hoo, hoo, hoo.
It's cold, please let me in. Oh, that's frightened me, I frightened myself there.
Oh, by the way, when they started work on the towers, the guy doing it got a cease and desist from those Mexican guys who were like, you're actually on our property. And then he had to go to the United government, was like, I'm being taken to court for building on this. There's a huge legal battle that goes on and on. For decades. It's what stops it being built. So they then make it this military prison. So you've got people who have done something wrong in the United States military, but also prisoners that are from other countries that had been caught in America, and then they were sent to Alcatraz. So it was 75 years it was a military prison. Mm-hmm. They also forced the people who were military prisoners to build more of the prison, which is, what is it, indentured? I don't know.
You're there, you may as well do something.
But it's slavery, isn't it? Forcing people to work for no money. So Alcatraz becomes less and less important as a military base as they realise that people aren't going to really attack San Francisco from this area. But they're like, it's very useful as a prison. So it's a military prison for about 100 years. Then the army are like, right, let's redo this. They knock down in 1909 the citadel. And then 1909 to 1911, they forced those military prisoners to build a new prison, which is for the country, because we're heading into the 20s and 30s, which is a golden age of crime in America.
Prohibition.
Is that fair? Yeah. Basically, it's prohibition that fucks it all. And forces people to become criminals that wouldn't have been before, criminalises quite normal behaviour, and allows organised crime to become very, very wealthy. This is where it starts to be known as The Rock, which is a very cool nickname.
And it was made into a maximum security prison for difficult prisoners because they wanted to show the public that the federal government was serious about stopping the crime of the 20s and 30s. Yeah,
that was a big job, is to be like, as much as to do anything was to be seen to be doing something, because everyone was like, these criminals are just riding, roughshod over everything. So it was a PR exercise as well. And I mean, it was a successful prison in terms of the fact that it was, the army there for about 80 years, but then the Alcatraz itself is there for years and years and years, and is now the most popular tourist destination in San Francisco because of its time in the army.
Not in the army. Service. Thank you for your service, Alcatraz.
Because of its time as a prison.
Thank you for your service.
Not that. You got to wear a poppy when you go to Alcatraz.
The average population of Alcatraz was always 260 to 275. The maximum capacity was 336. It was never reached. Now, prisoners actually said Alcatraz had better conditions than the other federal prisons.
Well, it was famously really great for food. Because actually one of the things it did have was amazing seafood. And there were a couple of places where it was really easy to fish. And there is a very famous letter somewhere where someone who is like an abolitionist of prisons writes to complain about the conditions that the people in Alcatraz are being kept in. And because at the time, because it was before there was overfishing, there was this saying that you could fall into that bay and you wouldn't sink because you'd land on lobsters. And lobsters were seen as a poor people's snack because it was really easy to catch, whereas now it's obviously very costs a lot of money to have lobsters. Oyster. Yeah. And they were I've been to Alcatraz and they're feeding the prisoners lobsters. And it was one of the points that was this is not a fair place to keep people. But because everything was imported, they had really great food. So obviously it was a very tough place to live, but the food was absolutely brilliant.
Here's something, prison food, that really that rubbed me up the wrong way the other day. So I started listening to a podcast on BBC Sounds about P. Diddy, right? About the trial of P. Diddy. And it was talking about him awaiting trial in prison at Thanksgiving. And the people that were presenting it were having a really jolly old laugh about, well, he won't be used to the food in prison on Thanksgiving, will he? And talking about what he's going to eat in prison on Thanksgiving and his daily routine. And do you know what? I found it really crass because I'm why this levity when we're talking about a man who is awaiting trial for hideous sex crimes and trafficking, and new allegations have come out, and he's been denied bail, and you're sitting there laughing about the fact that he might not enjoy his Thanksgiving dinner. Do you find that crass and unnecessary?
I don't know, it's weird because I think some people will be listening and be like, isn't that what you do? But I think what's really clear...
Well, see that's different. But this is... What I'm talking about here is we talk about the crimes when it's done, right? This is the BBC. This is a podcast about a man, yet again, and the BBC. Don't you be making light of it when you ain't got the fucking room to laugh. A man awaiting trial. We're not a public broadcaster. We're not the BBC. We're not making a as it happens documentary about something that's happening now.
Well, I think there's a weird thing going on where we're comedians, so we always have the context of which is two comedians talking about it. We're not a source of news. But also I think there's a weird thing where every podcast about everything tries to be funny in some way. And you're like, listen, I'm not here because I think you're funny. And you're not going to get new people listening because you're being pithy or wry. There's a BBC News podcast that I've had to stop listening to because they think they've got good chat, and it's hearing political journalists banter is honestly I can hear eggs just falling out of my body.
I know what you mean, but I just feel like what we do is completely different. This is primarily two people just talking. We're just giving facts that are available to anybody. We're talking about a man who, for allegedly for years, has abused
horrific
people and he's been denied bail, which is very serious. And then you're going, well, maybe the mashed potato would be a bit harder. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Also, it's the subgenres are celebrity and entertainment.
No.
It's fucking crime.
Yeah.
I get, what we do is what we do. But we're not, as I say, we're not a public broadcaster talking about a trial that is happening as it is now. About a very, very serious thing that is allegedly affected a lot of people's lives. And I just feel like there's no need, you don't need levity in everything. No. Sometimes things are so serious that you don't need banter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally. I agree.
Because, this is, we're sort of... Anyway, you get my point. What I'm saying is...
We get your point. You love P. Diddy. We understand.
No, if you're... Also, that man's music is fucking dog shit. It's fucking dog shit. I swear to God, one of the worst musical artists of all time.
Not as great as Crime, but yeah.
No, but on the flip side of it, you know when people have to separate the art from the artist on occasion?
Yeah. No one's worried about that with him.
Fucking get it off Spotify. In fact, take it off before any of this came out, because it is shit. It's crap. Anyway, Alcatraz sounds quite nice, actually. There was only one man to a cell. Mm-hmm. That was a big... huge selling point. There was several inmates at other prisons requested transfers there. Now, some were sent there for being unruly in general prisons. It was highly structured. It had a monotonous routine, which made the inmates follow rules and regulations. Now, the prisoners all had 4 rights. They had the right to food, clothing, shelter, and medical care.
Which is...
I think
it's kind of unusual for that time. I know that sounds mad, because you're like, yeah, human rights.
Yeah, that should be everybody's.
But actually, the prisons down south were far harsher. Also, you know, as we said before, anyone in there isn't facing the death penalty. So it wasn't a nice place to live, but it was definitely favourable compared to similar places.
Once a prisoner could follow the rules, though, they were sent back to the general prison. So the cells were 5 foot by 9 foot.
How much is that in London?
About $500,000, I reckon. The solitary confinement was a larger cell, but you were in there for 24 hours a day, and you were allowed outside for 1 hour a week. There was a cell. In the cell, there was a bed, a toilet, and a desk. I mean, what more do you need?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Like Virginia Woolf.
Sign me up.
Is it that quote, Virginia? No. Who's the quote? Is it Sylvia Plath?
Oh, either one of them.
Like, all a woman needs is, like, a source of income and a room to write in.
All a woman needs is a dildo and a book. I think that's it, innit? Virginia Woolf. Other privileges were learned. Other privileges were earned. The library, for example, they had a very extensive library.
Yeah, the library was like a real selling point.
Yeah.
And also everyone wanted to work in the library because you could, like, you got slightly nicer treatment. It was a really nice environment to be in. You could read as much as you wanted. So everyone wanted to be absolute fucking nerds.
They did sort of edit books as well, which obviously I think they still do in prison now. They would edit books that there was anything to do with crime in it, or, you know, we'll set that. We don't want to give them any ideas.
Did you ever have it where your parents didn't show you the bit of a film? Whose is it? Who, like, their parents is like, they were really surprised to watch something as an adult and there was a sex scene in it, or they stopped, like, Toy Story early at a certain point, you know, things like that.
There was, I think there was stuff like that, but I can't really remember. But yeah, I do distinctly remember being like
edited stuff.
Fast forward through that bit, or
in fact, when we share this on our Facebook page, let us know, because I bet there's some funny stuff about stuff that was cut out. We want to hear about that.
Funny things. There was a hospital on the island. There was a dentist. There was a psychiatrist. The very, very poorly inmates lived in the hospital. Now, inmates used the library very well. They also played chess and softball, and family visits were earned from privilege. Later, they also had access to radios and films.
Yeah.
As a privileges. There was the Rock Islander band.
The band!
Won't get that now. They played on holidays and Sundays. They were actually, someone described them as quite like a school band.
Yeah.
But it was the opportunity to learn an instrument. Al Capone joined it.
Yes, he did. Played in the band.
He really wanted to join it. And the Rock, it's a cool name, the Rock Islanders band.
Yeah.
It'd be a good t-shirt, that, wouldn't it? They had the band that you could join that as a privilege. James A. Johnston, who was the first warden, he had a rule of silence in there until 1937. And you could only talk at meal times and recreation times, but you could smoke as much as you wanted. Apparently everyone was on the tabs in there.
You would, though, because it's just, I think the most difficult thing when it's quiet would be passing time, which is why the library was so sort of attractive.
Yeah. The rule was lifted, the silence rule, though, because they couldn't really enforce it, and it was cruel.
Yeah.
As we've said, the food, 3 meals, breakfast 6:45 a.m. Dinner, 11:45am. Tea, 4:25pm. I have done it in the northern way, the correct way. Breakfast, dinner and tea. That is breakfast, 6:45am. Lunch, 11:45am. And dinner, 4:25.
I was raised with breakfast, lunch and dinner because my mum's from the south.
Breakfast, dinner and tea.
And now I say tea.
Yeah, breakfast, dinner and tea.
After living in Manchester for however many years.
Also, I say pants for your trousers.
Okay. Pants to me is knickers.
Which really annoys Tim.
It's American, that.
Well, I think it's northern. Like I say, oh, you look at his pants. Like, I don't know. I've never thought about it.
Do you know a lovely, I don't know if it's North Wales, but trawns are what you call...
Trawns.
Sean
Corn's trawns.
Sean Corn's trawns, yeah?
Sean Corn's trawns.
Get trawns on you.
It's like a Duolingo one, that. Sean Corn's trawns.
If you're new to listening, Sean Corn is Chimney Pot John, which is the Welsh... Father Christmas. Do you get annoyed when people say Santa Claus and not Father Christmas?
Yeah, I don't like Santa Claus. I do just for ease sometimes say Santa, but it is Father Christmas.
It is, you're right.
Yeah, Father Crimbo, Dad Christmas,
Krampus.
Krampus. So the 3 meals a day, as we've said, the food was good. The kitchen staff, they took pride in it as well. And
also, as a result, they were treated very well by the other inmates. They'd be like, oh, what are you cooking up? And would like compliment them and be like, you know, your porridge has really come on. So it was like, again, people wanted to work in the library because it was nice. People wanted to be part of the catering team because they got self-esteem from that. And I know I'm sounding very pro-prison. I'm obviously not.
I just think...
But...
Well, I mean, prison should be there to rehabilitate. That is the point.
Exactly.
So therefore, things like this, I am a big advocate of...
Equipping people with self-esteem, with routine, with skills is a really positive thing.
I mean, it is better if you do that before
you murder someone,
Before they go to prison, that is the time to do that.
Intervention work.
Yeah. I mean, I said this before, and from experience, I think the two, if you need to instill confidence, particularly in young men, you need to give them confidence and a skill. And I think particularly, you know, men from like particularly the area that I'm from, I would say, if you started early and gave those two things you'd solve a lot of problems.
I know this is really broad and hippie, but like with the young people that I encounter, like a form of expression. So I'm not even saying, sometimes I see young people get so frustrated because we haven't given them the education to articulate how they feel. So they can only go, I don't know, or I'm angry, but they can't go, I think I'm frustrated because of this. Like, we don't give them the language. So if we give them the language, amazing, but that's not right for everyone. But some form of expression, whether it's an art class or whatever, or you just
make a guitar. Let's get some great bands.
Let's get some great bands. Get the Rock Islanders back together.
Give them a trumpet. Give them a trumpet.
You should buy a whistle for everybody. It's back. The bamboo whistle.
Now,
keeps me sane. So where she's got that little whistle, there's a book next to it, and it's an uncanny book. And so just poking over the top of the mirror is Danny Robbins' terrified little face next to the whistle.
And Danny Robbins, and this is uncanny.
Has he got a speech impediment?
Yeah.
Has he?
Yeah. I actually went to Uncanny Con on Sunday.
How was that?
It was all right. John Culshaw was good.
I like John Culshaw. What sweet man!
So nice.
Oh my god, I'd met him backstage.
Guy.
Adorable.
Oh, what a nice guy. Very entertaining.
Yeah, he's got skills. Yep,
lovely man.
Yeah.
Very.
Never
nice.
met an impressionist that wasn't adorable. Rory Bremner is one of the nicest men I've ever met. Jan Ravens is literally the sweetest woman alive.
Just nice. It's a nice. What a lovely skill as well.
Yeah,
lovely skill.
What a lovely skill.
John Culshaw at Christmas. Imagine him at Christmas at your house. John.
Doing the Queen's speech.
John, go on. Go on, do the king. Go on, John, do the king.
Do Deirdre from Corrie.
Yeah, go on. Oh, John.
Speaking of.
Do David Attenborough while people are cooking. Like, narrate it like David Attenborough. Go on, John, go on.
Les Dennis, one of my favourite people in the world, impressions.
Yes.
It's just, there's a kindness.
Yeah. Yes.
Although there's one person I can think of that I think is probably one of the funniest people in the world who came up doing impressions, who I don't think is famous for being kind. Do you know who it is?
I do know who you mean.
Yeah.
And I won't hear it.
Well, yeah, I thought that would be the case.
There's certain people that I will just blindly protect. Oasis being...
I totally agree because I think they're amazing, but I don't want to spend any time with them.
So this is what I like. So pork shoulder. They also got pudding as well, you know.
Yeah, that was a big thing, getting a pudding.
Pudding.
Yeah.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. Now, the prisoners also worked in the laundry, in the kitchen, on the dock that was there. They got paid for that. They were counted several times a day as well, the prisoners, just to check that nobody had got off. They had a metal detector, which they called the snitch box.
Love that.
There was 3 in the prison. Al Capone's mum, apparently, she had to strip down because the clasps on her corset set the snitch box
Oh, my God.
off. There was letters that the well-behaved were allowed to get from relatives. They were only allowed to write to blood relatives, though. That was approved and regulated, and they were allowed one 90-minute visit a month from a wife or a blood relative. So wives and blood relatives. That was the only...
Another great band. Wives and Blood Relatives.
Wives and blood relatives. We're wives and blood relatives. Yeah, give me a tray if you went to private school.
Woo!
Anyone from Eton? This next song's called Eton Boy. Fucking piss off. So, as you said, pretty impossible to escape, but not that impossible because people did.
Well, it has this reputation as being... When I was doing some research, one of the things that people search for is, did anyone ever manage to escape from Alcatraz? And it's like, yeah, quite a lot of people. But also what would happen is they would escape, but like, good luck getting across a very choppy bay, you know, surrounded
with that.
Good luck with getting across a choppy bay. I mean, you could walk on the backs of the lobsters, if from what I hear. But you know, it was inhospitable, and it was you could get out, but could you cross the water? But there are some people who managed to do it, which we will talk about probably in the next episode. Can I tell you about my little night last night?
Go for it.
Last night.
Dildo and a book.
It was dildo and a book night. And we all bring one in and sit around in a cafe. God,
oh, that's a nice one.
But hold it over your arm like a bottle of wine. It's a lovely year, this. Oh, stop it. Fucking stop it. Actually, we should
while.
Maybe we spoke about...
Are you vegan?
Maybe we spoke about this on the last episode, but we ask our audiences at the live shows, or usually ask them a question relating to the show, and we asked them what the worst Christmas present they've got was. Have I talked about this on here before?
I don't think you have, no.
And
You're haunted by this.
Gave a goodie bag to this person who got in contact and said, I got given a second-hand pelvic floor exerciser. There's only a few words that can make this worse, and they're about to come from my mum.
Disgusting.
And afterwards, when we speak to her, she was like, yeah, it wasn't cleaned either.
Oh, my God.
Rough, that, innit? Yeah.
God.
I imagine it's covered in a thin bit of paper. Like, you know, have you ever seen a chrysalis when it's empty? That's what I imagined it was like.
Like this.
Anyway, so last night I was in London. My partner got me a lovely present, which was to go and see The Nightmare Before Christmas with a BBC Philharmonic Orchestra playing along. And then Danny Elfman, the composer, who also is the singing voice of Jack Skelton, singing, live. So... Jack Skelton, I think, is actually a fucking eventing writer. Yeah. Jack Skellington. So there was so many amazing parts of this. Sally in the original film is played by the incredible Catherine O'Hara. You know, Schitt's Creek, of Best in Show, of everything. Incredible woman. Who did they get to do it in the London version? Baby Spice.
Oh.
Or how she was introduced by the conductor. It was like, please welcome to the stage, Emma Bunting, a spiced girl.
No.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Well, it's Christmas. She's a spiced.
She's a spiced girl.
She's a spiced girl.
And so there was loads of weird things. Number one, Lee Francis was there, and I clocked him straight away. You know, the Beausoleil guy, and I was like, oh, that's Lee Francis. And the reason why I knew is because he was short, and I was like, famous people are always much shorter than you would think they are, so that is him. He's also he loves his clothes. He's got like quite an outfit going on. And then everyone's cannot leave the man alone and is taking pictures. He seemed very good-natured and was having them with everyone, but I was like, let him have this thing that he's clearly excited for. My partner didn't believe me because he was like, he would be in a VIP section, but I was like, I can't see a VIP section here, so I think he's just in with the muggles.
It's Christmas, darling. No one's VIP.
Christmas, there's no VIPs at Christmas, but he was, I would say, harassed.
Just leave him alone.
Let him have a night. Oh, yeah, well done, get a picture that you'll never look at again. Also, people filming the thing. It's like, you're not going to watch this back, but you are being annoying and, like, not in the moment. So it was amazing. The people around us, it was so funny. There was an interval, which I thought was unnecessary, but obviously you've got to get your wet spend, horrible phrase. So Danny Elfman comes on, everyone goes mad, and he sounds incredible. My partner looks over to the side of him. The person next to him is Googling, what is Danny Elfman? So it's like, I don't know why or how you're here. Bearing in mind we're in like an arena, so there's a lot of people there. They spent a lot of money. The orchestra are incredible. Now they have these things going across. The film is playing and you can see it on the conductors, and every now and then a massive circle appears on the screen and also a bar goes across. So during What's This, which is probably one of the best songs, something goes a bit awry. And you're like, oh, this isn't... It sounds like he's a bit behind the music. And the conductor turns around afterwards and said, oh, I'm really sorry. The dots indicate a change in tempo. The things indicate something else. And they're going wrong. So, like, the technical team were basically...
Oh, my God.
The tech was fucking up.
At the O2, fucking dick.
Oh, my God. They also then they start playing and he was like, I'm really sorry. And he explains it and it's actually more interesting for it. He said, and then he goes, so what we're going to do is we're going to have 5 clicks in and then we're going to go, he said, the music's really complicated. We're going to have a 4/5 tempo and then it's going to go into something else. So then when you like, it's almost like seeing behind the scenes and then seeing that was better for it because then you saw the orchestra like pick it up amazing. It was incredible.
Also, but I haven't paid to see behind the scenes. I paid for the...
Agreed. It would have been better if it was just better.
Yeah.
And then... They have clearly got it's like it's being played off a laptop and it's on a dodgy mini jack that's going, it keeps cutting out. And it's like, basically everyone performing live was absolutely amazing and the tech kept fucking up and letting them down. And it fucked up because what they did is the guy who plays Oogie Boogie died this year and he's amazing. But they had footage of him singing. From like a year ago, his last ever performance of it. So they didn't want anyone to replace him. So they played
yeah.
But they fucked up the text, so the orchestra were going at a different time to him. So it just sounded like he was being bad, but he wasn't. It's the orchestra, it was off and they couldn't do anything.
You can't even be dead and somebody get your tech right. You cannot. I swear. There is, look, and if you are a tech, don't write in. There is a real lack of...
Yeah, because they all lost
their techs.
Yeah, but it's the same with any of this stuff is that they had years of lockdown, not being furloughed, and so they're all gone off, they've all fucked off and gone, actually, I don't want to do this. So why all the chefs were like, oh yeah, sorry, I don't actually want to have a breakdown every week and be running on stress. And they're like, where are all the chefs? So, you treated them like shit for years, and now you're stuck with people with no experience. So yes, it was, I would say, plagued by technical issues, but it was great. But the people in front of us left in the interval were like, I've had enough of you. And it wasn't even that technically... I think they just didn't know what it was. What is a Danny Elfman? Anyway, one of the things that my partner and I love to do when we go to things, say there's someone on stage who's petite with dark hair and pretty, we'll be like, bloody hell, Fairburn gets about. So we'll call them whoever it feels like, or, a man with glasses and a bald head and be like,
hey, look, didn't know your dad was it.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's a guy, they have this amazing cast of voice actors singing and joining along. One was in this grey suit with a fez. I don't feel like they don't have any North African heritage, but I'm not going to get into that. So he's titting about with a fez and being sort of very giddy. And we were like, fucking hell, Greg Proops is having a good time. And then we're pissing ourselves off. He's like, I thought it looked like Greg Proops. Looked up in the interval. It's fucking Greg Proops. He's in the film and he's doing the live thing. And then we just, every time he was having the time of his life, Rachel. Rachel, it was like Make-A-Wish Foundation. He was really giving it big. He was having a lovely time.
What is he in the film?
He's in the film. He's a voice actor. So he does their there's loads of different monsters. And so he'll be he doesn't do this bit like, I am the wind blowing through your hair. So he's in it, and they've obviously gone, do you want to come along and do this? And he's like, yeah.
And he was
great.
loving it.
Yeah, and I think the guy who does the original voice of the mayor, and he does loads of other voices, was there as well. So a lot of the original voice actors. But he was really giving it beans.
Loving his
little shiny two-tone grey and black suit, sort of, and a fez. I really got caught in my fez.
He was just really loving it.
He was having such a nice time. And we were laughing about it afterwards. We were in the taxi home being like, do you reckon they were backstage? Like, oh, God, that was good. And he's like, where are we going now, guys? Like when someone has a good gig and they just can't come down from it.
Getting food.
And be like, shots. I'm just going to get some booze. Like, when are we all going to be together in the same room again?
Everyone just putting the instruments away.
Yeah.
That's really nice. It's nice to see someone having a good time, isn't it?
It was lovely. And Danny Elfman seemed to be really enjoying himself as well. It was it was a really beautiful Christmas thing. I had a lovely time.
That's good. I like that.
Emma Bunting was,
The spiced girl.
The spiced girl, Emma Bunting. It's quite festive, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. She's a spiced girl.
Spiced girl.
Have I got any festive activities? No.
I'll tell you what happens as a result of it, but I'm going to a carol service I'm doing a festive high tea, my partner and I, and then we're going on a tour. So Charlotte Church has got this like retreat in the middle of Wales, which is really stunning. We're doing a festive high tea, and then you get like a little tour of the grounds, and then at night come back and do a carol service with Father Christmas. So my friend is bringing all the kids, and we're doing that. But I don't know who it is yet. We might have to cut this bit out. It should be fine. But apparently the Father Christmas.
Hugh Edwards.
Fucking hell. I think Father Christmas is someone special.
Merry Christmas. What's that? Oh, I'm free. I'm so free. You wouldn't believe it. I'm freer than I've ever been.
There's an organisation who I adore that I work with, and he's got an affiliation with them. And what they've done is, and so his name is on something in the building, and they've very carefully placed a poster over the name.
I think you said
nothing
just
to see here.
Changed it, Hubert.
And there's also there was a picture of him on the wall, and now there's just an empty nail of what could have been.
Grey.
What a fall from grace. He shouldn't have been in your DM, should he?
No. Merry Christmas. Have a nice Christmas. I don't think I will.
Let's not end this by doing impressions of Hugh Edwards. Especially after being
from London.
the BBC. Being like, I actually don't think they should be joking about P. Diddy, and then be like, let's do a Hugh Edwards gear.
Yeah, but that's different though. That's different. This is an ongoing thing, the P. Diddy thing. And I just don't think, in the tone of a podcast, I think if you're talking about something like that, it's the same as if it was
I just don't want it from the BBC, I don't want it from the news.
Well, thank you. That's exactly...
Not the only thing I don't want from the BBC News Department, but that's back to Hugh Edwards.
But yeah, I just think... I mean, there's a difference, isn't there? I just found the tone quite jarring. Anyway, that's... But what did I do? I turned it off and didn't listen.
Good for you.
I didn't write in. I just complained on it.
That's what this is, points of view. When we come back, we're going to get stuck into the escapes. At Alcatraz, we're going to get stuck into some of the more famous inmates and what became of the prison in later years. Because it was also the site of a protest that burned some of it down.
Oh,
yeah, it's been a very important place before it became a massive tourist attraction. I would love to go,
I don't think I would. I get the gist. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm weirdly like that about if there was a brilliant digital tour. I'd pay £40 to do an amazing digital tour.
I mean, I just always feel like something like Alcatraz, I get the gist. I can read about it. It's not like a great art gallery, is it? Or a, brilliant museum, or it's just like, right, it's just a rotting prison. I get the idea. But also I'd rather just read about it. I don't need to grok the fullness of that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair.
You get me?
Yeah. Yeah, although I feel like, I think, if you did all your own research, you're going to learn more from that than you will doing the tour.
Yeah.
They're not get stuck in.
Yeah, if someone said, look, do you want to go? There's a free ticket. I'd go. I guess where I'm going on Sunday, see Paul McCartney.
Are you?
Yeah.
Really? Where's that?
Manchester.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Paul McCartney. Got to come back very, very early, though, to do work. But we'll let that.
Paul McCartney, what an incredible, lovely, festive thing to do.
Yeah, he's simply having a wonderful Christmas time, no doubt.
I love that he's had a rehabilitation from being the one that everyone used to like to be shitty about, to everyone watching that documentary and going, I think he was holding it together, if I'm honest.
Always.
You've been consistent with Paul.
Always. Let me just tell you this before we go. Uncanny Con.
Did they talk to John Lennon?
Two things that happened, right? So you remember on the TV show there was a woman, it was the Oxford haunting, and there was an exorcism. Anyway, they had some of the witnesses in. And this woman, Danny Robbins goes, oh, yes, there's a man in the foyer was talking to me before, and yeah, where are you? There you are. Did your father did the exorcism in the show? Did he not at their house? And he went, well, no, that's not true. The clip that you showed of a priest doing an exorcism, that was my father, and he did many exorcisms, and he spoke a lot about spiritualism on television, and he actually spoke on a show with the one and only John Lennon, a TV debate about spirituality. And if we look at our calendars today, what is the date? It is the 8th of December, the day John Lennon was shot. And everyone went, ooh. I'm like,
no.
That's not a fucking thing,
That's not,
mate.
yeah. John Lennon isn't booking the venue. That's not happening.
That's not a thing. That's not. I don't know how to explain how much that isn't.
It's just people want a thing, right? They want an experience. They want to believe in a thing.
It's just fucking. Anyway, then someone had put the hand up to ask a question, and Danny Robbins went, yes, the very big hand over there. I thought, way to make somebody feel
fucking hell.
Wow.
That woman's like, what?
Yeah. Do you know what? For many years, I've been so paranoid about my large hand.
Darling, do my hands look big in this?
I've been called many names. When I put my hand on a table, people go, "Who ordered the sausages?" I am so upset. But you know what?
Do you reckon it's King Charles going? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Today is the day that I'm going to ask a question at Uncanny Con.
Yes, you with a big foam hand, like it's gladiators. Oh, God.
Oh, God. But I didn't actually stay for the live episode recording. I had to go home because I'd come back from Winchester. I hadn't even been home. Didn't have a chance to change my knickers, did I?
Oh, crikey. Well, last night I got my bag searched. And as you go in, and he was like...
Because I was
dildo in a book, just full of them. And he went, oh, is this the work bag? I said, it's the everything bag. I said, I got a pair of pants and some cough medicine in there. He went, I don't even want to check it. Just waved me through. So there we go.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
I hope you're enjoying your Christmas day. Thank you for listening. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to
Owen, who makes all this happen.
Owen for
Reminds me of a young Paul McCartney, Owen.
He's got... I see what you mean. He has got that. Also, thank you to Paige, who made us two little figures of us for Christmas.
It was so lovely.
Really sweet, wasn't it?
We've had some great bits this year.
On the old Instagram there. Do I need to thank anyone else? No. It's Christmas. Come and see me on tour. Tickets are on sale now. It's Christmas Day. Get your phones out. Buy a ticket. Come on.
If you're in North Wales and you haven't seen my tour show, they have been rescheduled to the end of January. It'd be amazing. They're really full. So it'd be really nice if we could sell those last two tickets. Yes. New Zealand will be on sale in the new year. And that's solo shows and All Killa No Filla.
See you soon.
Bye.